From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Coming up on AgDay, celebrating the best of America from traditions on the farm.
Hey boys. Yep.
I'm Betsy Gibbon. One Indiana ag class is learning by doing, taking care of cattle. That story ahead of the show.
To what connects us and the spirit that keeps us going.
He pretty much told me his goal was, I need to get home and get back to what I was doing before, and that his main goal is farming.
AgDay, presented by the all-new Chevy Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Happy 4th of July and welcome to this special edition of AgDay. On this day, we're celebrating the American spirit of ingenuity and what makes us unique, of overcoming obstacles, and that's the case for one Nebraska man. The fight for survival became real for him recently while moving grain at his farm. Pender, Nebraska farmer Kurt Kaiser has had plenty of time for reflection.
It is what it is. Make the best of it is all you can do. I mean, it could have always been worse.
The 63-year-old was unloading corn last month when he got out of his truck and accidentally stepped in the wrong place.
Stepped in the hopper in that little hole. It just sucked my leg in and I was trying to pull it out.
Struggle as he may, Kaiser couldn't get it free. He didn't have his cell phone. There was no one around to help.
I didn't know what to expect.
What he did have, his pocket knife and a will to live.
When I was cutting it, the nerve endings, I could feel them just ping every time when I'd start sawing around that pipe. And all at once it went and let me go. So I got the heck out of there.
After he was freed, Kaiser crawled 150 feet to the nearest phone and was flown to a hospital.
I stayed conscious all the way to the hospital. I remember being unloaded up here and on life flight.
He was just released from rehab with very specific goals.
He pretty much told me his goal was, I need to get home and get back to what I was doing before, and that his main goal is farming.
While he works to recover, he'll have to wait for the amputated leg to fully heal before getting a prosthetic.
Pretty nonchalant about everything that actually happened, like it was no big deal.
A humble reaction.
I paid the price here of being in a hurry and not paying attention, basically.
From a farmer with enough grit to save his own life with a pocket knife and sheer determination. This next story might lift your spirits too. One woman in Georgia is becoming an inspiration to many people with dreams of starting their own small farms. Our friends over the Georgia Farm Monitor introduce us to the owner of EM Farms.
Hey, I'm Kanisha Miller. I'm the owner of Inion Farms here in Salem, Georgia. Inion Farms is an on-farm market. We provide fresh fruit and vegetables. We have collards available. We have tomatoes. You can pick them yourself. You can pick your collards yourself. You can come and get some herbs for seasoning. You can come and get strawberries, scumnums, and also we make preserve out of our fruits. So you can get some scumnum jelly, some strawberry preserve. I started Inion Farms for a totally different reason than the reason that I continue to farm today. Last year, I found myself in a predicament where someone had the power to tell me no on a financial situation, and I didn't like the way it felt at all. So I decided to do something about it. I needed to start a business. But in what? I just thought about, what have I been around all my life? Well, I've been around agriculture all my life, both from my grandparents' farm. I went to school and graduated from Fort Bellow State University in agriculture economics. I've been working over 5 years in an agriculture-related career field, so it only made sense to start farming. The reason I continue today is because of the amazing feedback I got from my community. Last year, I didn't have anything you see out here today. All I had was those 9 raised boxes and a shade tree, and they still made sure they came out to support me. People in the community would stop by my stand first before they go to the local grocery store to make sure they could support me before they went to the commercial spot. I mean, that means a lot. People stop by, give me seeds, transplants to plant, and ask for nothing in return. They'll come by, all my equipment, help me chop in the field, I mean, it means so much to me, so I can't stop for my community. This property is my grandfather's property, and my dad had this land, and I asked him could I do something with it, so I started farming it. My grandfather farmed this land 40 years ago. My dad always tells me stories when he's out here. He said he sold watermelon on this same piece of land 40 years ago. And it really means something to me. And the fact that I actually grew up in a house, two houses down, and my parents got married in that house. They got married in the front yard of that house. It means a lot.
Still ahead on this special 4th of July edition of Ag Day, we celebrate the tradition of the railroad in this country and a man who gets seed in the ground without using a tractor.
You have to follow the criteria for the assignment.
But up next, school's out. Several students are keeping the learning going all summer long by taking it out of the classroom.
Closed captioning is brought to you by BASF. Grow smart with BASF. We create chemistry.
A Texas Longhorn is one for the record books. He's broken the Guinness World Record for having the longest horns. Just take a look at this 7-year-old steer named Pancho Villa. His horn spread measures 10 feet, 7.4 inches long. It means he has the largest horn spread on a living steer, but it's also the largest horn spread on a steer ever. Pancho Villa lives in Goodwater, Alabama with the Pope family. They say Pancho gets a lot of attention and visitors. People love to bring him apples, carrots, and marshmallows. The former record holder was a Texas Longhorn by the name of Sato. He had a horn spread of 10 feet, 6.3 inches. School is wrapped up for another year, but for one Indiana school district, the work isn't over. There's an assignment for its students that lasts year-round to spark interest in agriculture. Ag Day's Betsy Gibbons shows us how it's putting its own flair on the farm-to-fork movement.
You have to follow the criteria for the assignment.
Class is in session at McConaughey Middle School in Bunker Hill, Indiana. And as the saying goes, Mr. Cinnamon's morning ag students are learning by doing.
We currently have 6 breeding females. Then we have 4 head that are being fed out.
This class doesn't just learn about agriculture in the classroom, they actually step outside and take care of cattle.
The program is called School to Table, where the students are the farmers and the farm is adjacent to the school, a way to spark interest in ag business, science, and production.
We built the fence here at school. The kids drove the posts, put in the steeples, ran the hot wire.
A fairly new program thanks to community, USDA, and other grants from ag companies, families donating cattle while others paid for by a grant.
Today, every period has gone outside to do some work. We needed to clean out the water tank. We needed to scrape off the concrete floor. And so that's kind of the day in, day out is just checking on and raising the cattle.
The program has its own spin to the farm-to-fork movement. Some of the beef makes its way on the menu at the middle school lunch cafeteria, a mini scope of feeding the world, just like with regular ag production.
And as we progress, we're going to get into more of the production side of it and the research where we can, actually calculate rate of gain.
Cinnamon says the opportunity is giving kids who did not grow up in ag to see what it's about.
I think it's a great experience for someone like myself since I've never really had any experience with livestock at all. And it's just a lot of fun seeing the whole other side of the spectrum.
And it's a learning experience for the ag kids too.
It's a lot different than pigs because in our barns, there's like just a system. You just got to press a button, feed, and water comes down. But here we actually get to bring the hose over to the container and fill it up, and we get to actually have bags of feed and just put it in.
Valuable lessons not always taught at school, accessible in and outside this classroom. Reporting in Bunker Hill, Indiana, I'm Betsy Gibbons.
Coming up, we celebrate what helped join our two coasts together. the tradition of the Great American Railroad and the trains that helped make it happen. Next.
The IBM Watson Decision Platform for Agriculture, helping to feed a hungry world with the power of AI.
Celebrating the tradition of the American Railroad, several thousand train lovers gathered in May in Utah to catch a glimpse of a pair of restored 1940s-era steam engines and celebrate the 150th anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad.
When the United States connected East and West through a transcontinental railroad, it changed America forever. You know, before the railroad, it took 6 months to go from New York to San Francisco, and you risked your life.
After the two trains met up, there was a ceremonial tapping of a spike. There was also a celebration where the final golden spike was hammered in May of 1869. And that celebration of the Transcontinental Railroad will continue all year long. You know, it wasn't that long ago that the best way to travel cross-country was by train. Here's a closer look at one of the trains that's helping keep the tradition going. 150 years in the making.
We wouldn't have missed this for the world.
The Big Boy, number 4014, rolling across the Wyoming plains near Cheyenne.
Well, it's going to be the largest operational steam engine in the world. You know, I mean, how can you not get excited about that?
Longer than two city buses, weighing more than a fully loaded Boeing 747 and able to pull the equivalent of 16 Statues of Liberty over a mountain. The Big Boy making a reappearance after some 70 years of retirement.
Back in the 1940s, when freight railroads were moving a lot of things, you know, with steam power, you needed a big locomotive to get over that hill.
Big Boy engines hauled freight between Wyoming and Utah in the 1940s and 50s. Of the 25 built by the American Locomotive Company in Schenectady, New York from 1941 to 1944, 8 remain.
When we built the Transcontinental Railroad back in the 1800s, I mean, how are you going to get over the Rocky Mountains was very key.
Today, thanks to 5 years of restoration, only number 4014 is operational.
You look inside the cab, you see all the knobs, you better know what you're turning.
That's our water level right here.
Ed Dickens headed up the restoration.
It looks really complex and complicated, somewhat intimidating. When you learn about steam locomotives, all of those valves have a specific purpose.
Operating the Big Boy requires a 2-person crew to monitor the 1.2 million pound machine.
Because we rebuilt this, we designed everything to customize what I want as an engineer and what the fireman wants as a fireman. So as I'm sitting right here positioned looking out as I need to, the speedometer is right in line with me, everything's within easy reach, the whistle's just a little right here.
Engineered for those steep mountain grades, each Big Boy was built with 2 huge engines beneath a 250-ton boiler, a feat still drawing crowds 150 years past the first golden spike. Still ahead, those crazy animals, a donkey on a highway, and ducks that are not on the menu but in the spotlight at One American Hotel.
Join Andrew McCrae for Farming the Countryside, a farmer-focused podcast that is all about production agriculture. Farming the Countryside is available wherever you listen to your favorite podcast and is brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions, the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services.
If you've ever had livestock, you know once in a while those critters can get out. Well, take a look at this scene that unfolded recently on a busy Chicago interstate.
There's a donkey in the middle of I-90. Come here. Come here, sweetie. You want to call the state or somebody? Somebody lost their donkey, County. I am in the middle of the expressway with a donkey.
Far from a routine traffic stop when a sheriff's officer spotted a donkey meandering along I-90 near Chicago. The Cook County officer's body cam capturing the entire event. She asked a driver to stand with the donkey while she could figure out what to do.
Do me a favor, pull your car over and stand with the donkey so I can figure out what I'm going to do with it.
The officer also asking the donkey where it was from. It turns out the animal's name is Dusty. He was eventually returned to its owner. Now, this was an idea that started as a joke. A drunk hotel manager placing live duck decoys in the hotel's fountain. But it's become a tradition that has lasted now 82 years. AgDay photojournalist Russ Natusco takes us inside the famed Peabody Hotel in Memphis.
The Peabody Ducks have marched from the rooftop.
The ducks, they're really cute, and I think it's going to be cute if they march.
Down to the lobby and back.
I know there's a lot of music in Memphis, but the Ducks are a little better for me. Oh, here we go, drum roll, drum roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, the march of the world famous Peabody Ducks.
The ducks were so fast.
They were so fast.
They're like race ducks.
Are you the duck
No, I
guy?
just like to dress like this.
Well, I didn't know. I thought maybe you were the MC.
Yeah, see, I'm the...
Oh, well.
I love to talk to people of varying backgrounds, and I find that everybody loves to come here. Never name them. They're wild animals. We don't touch them. We don't name them. We let them go every 90 days. It's fun to watch the kids because you see a whole new generation seeing the ducks. All that remains is to play that John Philip Sousa, King Cotton March, and march our five-feathered friends single file up the red carpet into that elevator en route to their palace on the rooftop. You too will have been eyewitness to the world-famous march of the Peabody Ducks. That's right, let's get our ducks in a row here. Let them see you shake your tail feathers. That's it. Give them one last photo op there, duckies. Here we go. Oh, yeah. This is a pretty key job. It's a well-known job, and when I applied for it, there were 300 applications. I feel like I'm serving a purpose here. Feels useful, it's fun, so I enjoy being here.
When we come back, one man who's keeping American farming traditions alive. Why you wouldn't find him on a tractor. Next.
Introducing Farm Journal TV, on demand 24/7. AgDay, Machinery Pete TV. U.S. Farm Report on your phone and tablet. Download the Farm Journal TV mobile app today. Closed captioning is brought to you by BASF. Grow smart with BASF. We create chemistry.
For one Northwest Iowa farmer, planting season doesn't mean greasing up the tractor. It means hooking up the horses. Al Jones has that story from Bronson.
Hey, boys. Yep.
75 years ago, Darwin Brink planted crops this way because he had to. Today he does it because he loves to.
It's quiet. There's no noise. All you hear is the tug chain rattle, metal arc sing. Let the rest of the world go by. Get up.
So into the ground the soybeans go. Compliments Buck and Barney on the other end of the reins. Pulling a 1920s era planter that Darwin and son Dave bought for $15.
Is it hard to keep the line straight, Darwin?
It depends on your horses. If you've got a good walking team that walks together, it ain't bad. But if you get one that jiggles around, then it's bad.
This would be impressive for anyone to be doing it, but it's made all the more so when you consider Darwin is 90 years old.
I'm retired. What should I do? I enjoy doing it. I enjoy very much with a good team of horses.
Does planting this way do as good a job as planting with the tractor?
Sure, yeah. We get the seeds in the ground, that's all that's necessary.
I suppose you get a little bit of natural fertilizer out of them too.
Yeah, you do.
Are you doing it to grow a crop or are you doing it just to have fun?
Well, both. both, yeah, try and make your hobby pay. You know, it's not for everybody. I understand that, but I enjoy it.
Well, on a day like this, it's hard not to enjoy it.
You ain't just a kid. Yep.
He may plant the crops at a slower pace, but Darwin is not slowing down. Reporting for AgDay, I'm Al Jones.
And that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. For all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day out in farm country.